Here we go. Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode number. Let's see if I can get the correct number here. I think it's this one here. Nope. That's coming soon. I know it's Case because I'm working, yes. Well, the newest episode I'm working on is episode number 1135, Momiji Ooka's Sweet Trap. Yes, that is the name of this episode. Here we go. It is episode number 246. That's episode on here. Now, this episode itself is a canon episode, and like usual, it adapts pretty much the entirety of chapter 1088, and it's mostly put the first half of chapter, I think it was like 1089. Yep. Yeah, 3-part story arc. Yes. Excuse me, when it's 2 parts, I'm like, no surprise there. Given the fact that for the past couple years, arcs have been not very long, per se. I mean, so far, we haven't had a case of an arc where, for the manga, where it takes up 1 episode, because it's that short. They hit me like first, second, third part. That's pretty much this year. And fun fact, they actually now this arc will give a loose follow up in the most recent arc that just wrapped up, because of all the play involving actors. Very similar premise this one. My only guess is the reason why they didn't do this now is because Heiichi just came back in the manga and they just wrapped up a 5-part story arc with him. So. Alright, here we go. And I believe this aired roughly 2 years ago. Well, actually, it was released in manga 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2.5 years ago this was released. And this comes like roughly 2 months after they just did the previous one, which was the family restaurant murder case. Because for some reason we're going back to the premise of, oh, let's adapt these arcs out of order. For the longest time, these arcs were definitely adapted in order. They weren't adapted out of order. If you want to think of the very first arc to be not adapted next, like if you want to think of like what could have been the first one, like what was the first arc recently where they started to adapt this stuff out of order? And it's pretty much been these three cases. Because, actually it started with, well, the marriage partner search murder mystery case. That aired back in March, roughly 2 months after Watari's Date Notebook. This way back that was 2 cases after. So what they did is that the next case after the next one, and then they adapted the previous case. And then they did the same thing with this one, where instead of going like, okay, so this one, so maybe they do this one, now they went straight to family murder case, then they're back this one. I don't honestly get it, of why in the world they did this, they're doing this. Yes, as far as I can tell, there's no real reason for this at all. Yeah, that's the bizarre thing about this. Is that there's no real reason why we have an arc that the anime is doing this, where adapting the arcs out of order. Either because either the character just came back, like in the case of this one, or they just didn't feel like it after that one. Or maybe also because the continuity is probably a little wonky with this series, because this series has been going on now for, oh my gosh, the manga has been going on since '93. For 31 years, this manga has been going on for, and the anime has been going on since 1985. Yes, 1985. And from what I can tell, this is the only manga I've seen where it has a sliding time scale, where, like, very linear, despite the fact it has modern technology in it. And I've noticed this since I've started reviewing the series back in 2019. So here's the thing. So we start out with Ran and Katja just sightseeing, while Hiji, Conan, and Mori help out with a play that's based upon them. Well, based on one of Mori's cases, presumably. And of course, basically, like, apparently Hiji's a supporting character. So then we see Mori, Heiji, and Conan talking to the producers of the series, who they also mentioned in their scene that one of the actresses committed suicide, who was going to play Mori's wife. So you can have someone play a character based upon Mori's estranged wife. That's probably something that's probably does bring in public. The fact that he and his wife are separated, not divorced. They're just separated. Well, they're mostly they're estranged. They're on okay terms with each other. They just don't live together. And Mori just takes care of their daughter. Well, actually, Mori's daughter takes care of him. Basically, just cooks for him, and, well, because they say one of the reasons why Eri moved out is because she's a bad cook. But they've never really gone into it at all. But that was actually anime original canon. Anime original reason why that Eri moved out. And you probably think, what was it, because of him hitting on various women? No, that's never been proven. The fact that was the reason for it. It just that started after his wife moved out. Yes. He, of course, doesn't wear his wedding ring, per se. He's never seen wearing it. I'm sure he has it. He probably has it, like, in his pocket. But he doesn't necessarily wear it in public. I mean, I'm sure that Maguire does know he's estranged from his wife, but he probably doesn't delve into his personal background. He may get into arguments with him, but he doesn't necessarily delve into his personal life. So, and of course, so they basically have a consultant for the play, which they actually have a actual police inspector who is the managing officer of the precinct in Tokyo. Which, by the way, the building that they use for the anime is the real life, is based upon an actual real life building that does exist in Tokyo. I've looked it up. It's a legit building. A lot of the buildings they use for this particular series are based upon actual buildings that exist in Tokyo. Though who owns them is different in the actual life. Like the Bell Tower is owned by basically Rand's best friend's family owns it. The Bell Tree. Excuse me. So they bring up the fact that Hedge's character has got like a girlfriend in it, and also the fact that the actor who plays him has got the same name he does, just by sheer coincidence. Because they believe a teenager in modern day would not have a girlfriend, which, okay, that's a bit stretching, but okay. And the girlfriend based upon Momiji instead based upon the girl he actually likes, Katja. And of course, Katja's worried that, Momoji's about to put her mitts into him because she's jealous. Because she also got to think for him too. And no, you can't do that because we still have our staff to make. And the driver is Momoji's butler, Ian. That's interesting. So they bring the inspector in. Now, he himself has not been seen in the anime in quite some time. If you're really curious, like, for him, it's been I saw him again. I'm like, wow, it's been a long time since I've seen him. If you're really curious, excuse me, he has not been seeing the anime in a long time. Last officially he was in the anime was back in a episode 1004, which aired 3 years ago. That was the last time he was seen. But prior to that, he was seen in a multi-part story known as Target is the Metropolitan Police Department. Which, yeah, that was in our case featuring roughly 4 years ago. So he's not been seen in some time. Now, Itadori, Momoji's butler, he, of course, was last seen in terms of the anime in episode 1025. And that's, of course, the present day. So this is the first time for him. First time in 3 years that he's been seen. Momiji. She, of course, was also seen in that very episode. The episode for her, it's been 3 years. Kocha, I don't think it's been that long. No, because she's featured in a good amount of cases in terms of the anime. Mm-hmm. Her last appearance being in the Inconspicuous Matchmaking, which aired just last year. That was the last time she was seen in terms of the anime. Along with Heiji, of course. I'll get to one Inspector soon because he was a bit surprising. This one goes a character who looks exactly like him in the previous episode. So, yeah. So basically, he basically thinks a lot of stuff is not realistic. The director's like, just go with suggestions. I'm like, okay, fine. But the thing is, he also has to, like, before this meeting, and of course interrupted because they're guests. They think they're guests up. No, because pizza showed up. Yes, they ordered pizza. Which actually is a superstition that the group has, is that if they don't order pizza for their first meeting, the thing won't be successful. Okay, so they hand the pizza out. He can't get the pizza because he's on a diet, so he sucks on lollipops and apparently gets sleeping pills because he doesn't sleep very well. So he goes to take a nap, and they add this scene in here because I checked the manga. This moment does not exist in the manga. This was very rarely does the anime actually deviate from the manga, but this is the first edition I've seen in a long time for the series. Like, usually they change some dialogue, but not like the added a particular scene here where you just have 3 producers just looking at him, and then afterwards, it's shown later on that they were just there just to change his blanket. That's it. That was completely made for the anime, because that did not exist in the manga at all. So, and of course the inspector is like, okay, so he figured he gave all the suggestions out that he wanted. And, of course, Momiji is there too. And then, of course, basically he proceeds to leave. But just say goodbye to the director first because he invited him. Like, okay, I could do that. So I go wake him up and the door's shut. Like, they can't open the doorway, and then they see the guy's his checkered shirt poking through the door, and think, oh crap, he must have rolled against the door again because he apparently did this before where he fell off the sofa and blocked the door. So then they proceed to go outside. Of course, you need a ladder, so you have Heiji and Conan climb up this ladder. They bang on this glass, on this sliding door, and they can't open it. So the inspector's like, move. And then he picks up a potted plant and smash the freaking thing. And so he and Mori go in. Which, that's interesting. Now, I get probably why Mori goes in, because he is basically a former police officer. These two are basically, Hejiri is a high school detective. Basically helps on cases, but he's not legit a police officer, like these two were. So, he basically, of course, the kind of stumbles him very carefully. By the way, Mori is not wearing his shoes. He's basically walking around in socks. So they accidentally knock down this whole desk full of lollipops. And they see on the floor that there is, there's a bottle of poison on the floor and a water bottle. And, of course, basically, the inspector takes a sniff of the guy's, mouth and smells almonds. Basically, that's a sign for cyanide poisoning. Which, of course, basically, the series basically loves using poison. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's his favorite murder object, aside from a freaking knife wound. Aside from a knife wound, I mean, bludgeon hit head with something. Like, pretty much mostly, that is the most common murder thing ever used in the series. And here's a fun fact. Guess how many characters they've actually have found a dead body where the person's been shot? Technically 0, but they've had one character die by a gunshot wound, and that was a character back early on in the series. It was a character who was made out to be a one-shot character, but very important to Flashback because she's Ihabara's late sister, and she was shot to death. I believe she was shot by Jin of Jin and Vodka, because she outlived her usefulness. That was pretty much basically what it is there. Yeah. But, and of course, basically, and then we see the return of an inspector I haven't seen in quite a while, from Majiro Akinoji. Yes. Who, get this, this guy first appeared in a movie first, then he was made canon of the show. Yeah, and his first canon case is the very place to go to, Kyoto. The last time he was seen in this series, it's been a while. The last time he was seen was the 4-parter Kaiju Gamma vs. Kamen Yaba, which aired 5 years... Well, basically, here's the thing. This aired roughly 4 years ago, so he's not been seen in 4 years in the anime. The guy himself has not been seen very much in the series. He made his first appearance in terms of the anime was actually in episode 694, and then he appeared in the Crimson School Chip arc, which great story arc that is, which basically this had Rand basically confirm her feelings for Sichi, which of course was the last time he had transformation. And then he was seen in the Search for Mary-chan, which actually was the little fun fact about this 2-part Search for Mary-chan. When I finally got up with this series 5 years ago, those were the last 2 I watched bench watching. Yes, those were the last 2 official ones I watched, because it took me 6 months to get through this anime. 6 months. But I got it done. Yep, I got it done. And it's great to see him again here. He, of course, suspects suicide, but actually was murder. Basically, Conan and Hiji basically put out various things like a bottle with cap being dry, about how poison can't get things that quickly. So he's a bit nervous, like, okay, we'll make him murder. And, of course, they also made another anime original edition, which leads to that scene where the 3 guys go check on him, which, of course, they actually asked about that. That was anime original because that was not in the manga. That was added in here. And, of course, basically, the episode, and, of course, like, Momiji, by the way, when they come with the ladder, like, after Hiji and Conan and the inspector and Mori, Momiji follows right after them. I find that to be interesting. Now, was that anime original? It was. Yes, that moment was complete anime original. Which I find that to be interesting fact that after those 4 guys went up, she's the first one to go up that ladder. Yes, the only girl that's there, and she's the first one to go up the ladder. Yeah, and the whole thing with the actress is that the inspector asked about her because he said he was actually a fan of hers. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Yep, and the fact she died pretty much similar way that the director did, because this guy was the director of the play. They don't show the actors here per se, except for the one who died. But all in all, really good episode. But I think, wow, this is long for a review for Case Skulls, because there's a lot to talk about this one. And to me, a lot. But I love this episode. I like some original episodes. I wasn't really a big fan of those. This one actually was really, really good. I enjoy this. Yep, so yeah, that's a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, do the like button. Oh, excuse me. Next up is basically me, a comic corner. And that is on the Chain Soldier next. Okay, thanks, you. Bye.